Welcome to Discover Ramona, where we explore the people, places, and businesses that make it one of the best places to live. I'm your host, Valley, and I'm here with my co-host, Jan Ryan. Hi, Jan.
Hi, Valley. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. We are
Great.
experiencing an incredible amount of rain right now.
We are.
But that's not going to shut down your garage sale or yard sale. Tell us about it.
Okay, that's coming up. I've had people asking me, but it's set up for April 27th, Saturday, and it's my annual, Jan Ryan's annual yard sale in San Diego Country Estates.
Okay.
And I've been doing it for over 20 years. Wow. So you can expect that Saturday at 7 a.m. There's typically 80 to 100 separate homes out in that area. And it's just such a great community event. People get together, they're outdoors, they visit neighbors, but we get people coming from all over.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, so what streets are those? Like, do you know what you said this estates, that's huge. Like, where generally is like the hot hub of that?
Well, it's the whole area of San Diego Country Estates, and I do a map in the Ramona Sentinel before, and I've got it on my Facebook and Instagram so you can see where to go, or let me know and I'll send you a map. But it's highly advertised in the Union Tribune, in the Journal, and the Sentinel, all over San Diego. So we get a big draw of people.
I like it. And after 20 years, you've got to be a pro at this. This is probably the best community yard sale in San Diego, hands down. It's got to be.
Well, I've perfected it, but it's about the people. It's just such a great neighborhood, and we all get together again. It's just such a good neighborhood feeling.
How can we find you out there? You're going to host your own yard sale, or are you walking around going, house to house and meeting people?
I'll be doing my own shopping,
of
course.
You will? Okay.
Yeah,
so bring a lot of cash.
Anything you could want, from furniture. They've had people selling plants. They've got kids doing lemonade stands, bake sales. And it's all individual houses.
So whatever people end up selling, it's there. It's going to be there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what were the dates one more time?
It's April 27th, Saturday, 7 a.m. If you want to be included in it, if you live in San Diego Country Estates, just give me a call, email, drop me a line. Make sure you get a confirmation, and I'll put you down.
All right, that's going to come up quick. So who do we have today, guests that you've brought and introduced us to?
Well, I'm excited to bring Amber Ramirez from Farmers Insurance. It's very timely with what everybody's going through right now.
Exactly, yeah. I'm interested to meet her and ask her a ton of questions. Let's see. Let's meet her. Amber Ramirez, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So you are an insurance agent with Farmers, correct?
Correct.
Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and the community you serve.
Great. Well, I grew up in Ramona, so we moved there when I was 3. The insurance agency has been in my family for over 50 years, so I've kind of grown up in the insurance, and I particularly have started over 20 years ago, so about 21 years. And I got into it, because my mom was getting ready to retire, so I joined as a partner and then ended up buying her out. But we've been at the same location all that time, so we have a lot of connections in the community. The community is very special to me. And, I'm a Chamber of Commerce director. So the thing I like about Farmers is because if Farmers says no to a particular risk or insurance product, I have an older contract where we can broker out to other companies.
Right.
So it's very lucky I'm able to do that. A lot of agencies are not able to do that.
Right. And usually their no is just a flat out no, but you have a no, but we can solve it by doing this.
Correct. And that's very helpful to people, especially in today's market, struggling to find something. We can usually, 99% of the time, find you something.
Okay. And your office is in Ramona. You're out of Ramona. You work there?
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
I live and I work there. I have 3 licensed agents besides myself.
Okay.
So if I'm not, readily available, someone there can help you, or someone who's needing help with their insurance needs.
Well, I got a question for you. I want to learn a little bit about you. So, what is the motivating drive for you to do insurance? Like, what's your passion behind it?
So when I was growing up, I swore I would never work with my mom. It's always hard for a teenager to work with her parents, that sort of thing. And then I really saw how she was helping people. People came to her for advice. She's a trusted advisor. I have friends who don't have insurance with me, possibly because of the rates, or they've had insurance with their agency for 20 plus years. However, they'll call me for advice because they trust me. So I think that's one of the key things, is being able to help people, even though I don't end up getting the policy, or, at least I'm able to advise them as to tips and guides of what to do, what not to do, why insurance companies is the way it is, that sort of thing.
And do you do all kind of policies, not just homeowners, but do you do everything?
Correct. So I have 3 of my licenses in the state of California. I'm also licensed in Idaho as well. But I do burial products like retirement plans. I do life and health with Medicare. I do auto, home, workers' comp, commercial. Basically anything you need insurance for in the state of California, I could help you with.
Okay, perfect. So what else, Jan, are you thinking that, as far as how you've met her, I'm sure you're a realtor, you came across having to use her a couple times. What are your experiences working with her, and how do you guys intersect?
Well, I call Amber like that with questions, and she's always struck me as so knowledgeable and helpful. And every time I call her or talk to her, I learn something new that's super helpful that I had no idea. So in fact, I featured you in my next newsletter coming out.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, with some of your tips, like things about the California Fair Plan that I'm finding most homeowners are getting now in Ramona, but you were saying they're not actually a government agency, and some other things about them.
Right. Did you want me to talk about that, or?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so the California Fair Plan, a lot of people assume that because it has the word California in it, it's a government agency. I've even had people call me and argue with me that yes, they are, and I'm saying no, they're not, and I'm reading it off of their website. So what it actually is an exchange program within the state of California, and insurance companies that are writing in the state have to participate by their profit share. So let's say Farmers has 35% market share. We're going to participate with Farmers 35% of profits, losses, and all of that. It's kind of forcing the insurance companies. And a lot of people just assume we don't want the government program. We don't want the government to be, it just has the name California. And actually every state has a fair plan. So there's Louisiana Fair Plan, there's Texas Fair Plan, and it's been around since 1968, I believe. And we've only had to start utilizing it probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Now, unfortunately, we're using it all the time, but it's at least a resource for people to get the insurance.
You mentioned some tips and tricks that people call you with that helps them with their policies and their plan. Off the top of your head, what are some things that people can do to help with their policy?
So make sure your yard's cleaned up, because a lot of insurance companies, not just Farmers, are now doing aerial views, sending out notices of cancellation. So basically insurance companies will send you a notice of cancellation, give you a period of time to do a fix, like the trees hanging over the roof is a big one right now, because if that tree catches fire, then your house is on fire. Brush up against your home, a lot of debris and stuff in the yard. We've had some insureds, for 50 years, and now they're doing re-inspections, and just that pride of ownership needs to be shown there. You can't just let your house go, because insurance companies will do a re-inspection. A lot of times if they have a claim down the street and they're driving by your house and you have the same company, they'll stop by and take a couple photos and send it to the insurance company. So it's completely random, but they are doing it more and more nowadays.
So it's kind of, in a way, I hate to say it, but like helpful, because it keeps the community cleaned up, right? It makes you be accountable as a homeowner to staying up to date on your property, taking care of things, not allowing deferred maintenance, trash buildup, junk buildup in your yard. You really have to take care of your home, which in general just makes the whole neighborhood nicer. Exactly.
Or like broken down fences may lead people to trespassing, and liability claims, are at a high right now. So, it's best to protect what you have. Not to mention, insurance is supposed to get you back to where you belong after a claim. Like, you're not supposed to profit from it. However, all of these personal items and memories and things like that, no one can put a value on that. So it's in your best interest as a homeowner to protect what you have. And insurance should be there as like a backup.
Yeah.
In the event I can't.
And it's interesting because Valley's a lender, and you mentioned to me that you don't want to let your lender take over your insurance to save money.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people with rates and stuff right now are like, I can't afford it, so we're just going to get mortgage placed insurance. And I always try, whenever someone tells me that, I'm like, please just let me give you a quote. That way you can, that way you can make an educated decision, because it's my job, I feel, to educate you as to what your options are, At that point, it's up to you what you want to do. I can't, make you do anything.
Well, I feel like the lender is going to protect themselves at the highest portion that they can. They're not looking at like, hey, this is what you need as an individual, and here's what you own, and here's your assets and things like that. They're looking for their interest in the property. So they tack on, if you just don't pay your insurance when it's supposed to be renewed and you rely on the lender to do it, I'm here first to say that they're not going to give you the best policy.
Right. Usually it's 4 times
it's
what
terrible.
I can offer you. It is just to secure the loan. So say you have $1 million house and you only owe $400,000. That's what the policy they're going to give you is $400,000. It doesn't provide you with any liability and doesn't cover any of your content. So if your house burns at that point, you're going to get a check for $400,000 on $1 million home. Yeah. So like I said, some people have proposed that to me, and I'm like, please just give me a day or two. I'll get you a quote. If you still decide to do that, go ahead. But I want to sleep at night, basically. Yeah. And that's how I do.
I think a lot of people don't realize when using the lender's policy, it's like you're always overpaying and generally undercovered.
Yes.
Which you don't ever want to do. That's the 2 bad things you don't want. So I always recommend go to an insurance agent. Personally, I use Farmers. I think it's the best company out there, in my opinion. I don't get, I live in California. We have other properties insured by Farmers, so they've seemed to help us out the most.
Yeah, and I love being an agent. And like I said, I love helping people. We'll help through the claims process. When someone calls with a claim, if they are asking us for advice, we'll kind of, how much is it? How much is your deductible? We'll kind of look at it. Well, do you really want to do that? Because, insurance is basically for the big things that happen in life, not really so much a $3,000 bathroom that overflowed when your deductible is $2,500. And a lot of people get upset. They're like, well, what am I paying insurance for? You can put in a claim, but then you're going to lose your claims-free discount that all insurance companies give you for the next 3 years. So overall, you're not going to be ahead.
That's good advice.
Yeah, and so I like my insureds to call me before they put in that claim, because once you put in that claim, then it's kind of already in the process, and we help along the way. It's just it's best to call first and ask.
Yeah,
and you mentioned to me one of the really good things to save money on insurance is your deductible.
Correct. Yes. So a lot of people's premiums this year are going up by quite a bit. So we are really pushing with our agency. Let's do a review. Let's see if we can't bundle something. Do you really need renters, rental car coverage on this car? You have 3 cars. Like, where can we cut the cost as well as the deductible? Is it worth your while to increase your deductible? Because like I said, insurance for the home is for like the major things. And something a lot of people don't understand either is your deductible. You don't have to come up with your deductible when you have a claim. So let's say you have a policy that has a $10,000 deductible. It's just insurance doesn't start paying you until you reach that $10,000 mark.
Got it.
So a lot of people are like, I don't have $10,000 just sitting around. And I'm like, no, but if you have $1 million loss, are you really going to be, upset about $10,000 versus $5,000? You're probably not going to notice that difference there. So it's definitely something to look at, and something we're really encouraging this year to help save you some money, because everything is getting very expensive.
Okay, so another question on, just to kind of piggyback onto that, why do you feel like insurance companies have left California and refused to insure in California?
Just going to ask.
Yeah, so what's happened over the last several years is insurance companies have filed for rate increases, and you can file for 6.9% without having to have like your books all audited and everything. Well, from my understanding is these rate increases have to go through the insurance commissioner, and they've been sitting on his desk. So let's say we file in January of 2020, and he doesn't get to it till March of 2021. Then by then you've probably already needed another rate increase. So they're constantly behind the gun. Insurance companies are for profit. They do want to make a profit to stay in business. And since those haven't been approved on a timely basis, like State Farm, Allstate and stuff has basically thrown up their hands like, we don't want to continue writing more business at a rate we're not happy with and making money. So a lot of them have stayed on the policies that they have in California. A lot of them are non-renewing them, and basically they've halted all their new business. So until that situation gets under control, you only have a handful of carriers that are even writing today.
Do you see it getting under control anytime soon?
My personal opinion is it's going to take the commissioner approving these rate increases that these companies want, which is not what the consumers want, to bring them or entice them to come back to California to write more new business.
Okay.
And we talked about this because I feel, and you probably feel, I think most people feel, that the rates we're paying now, they should be doing really well. I mean, with the California Fair Plan, why aren't they coming back? But you were saying that's still not enough, that they've had
Correct.
bigger losses.
Yeah, so I think
so it's not like they're being
right. I think the last
crazy
notice that I got like from farmers was like for every dollar we bring in, we're paying out $1.10. So we're running in the negative. So until insurance companies get caught up and actually start making a profit, that's when they'll start being more enticed to write more insurance. But that's going to be more premiums. And people have been, I've been reading all these articles. I get several a day. People have been spoiled basically in California. We have some of the lowest rates in the United States to pay for insurance. I have some insureds and some agents out in Texas. They pay $10,000 a year for their homeowners insurance. And they're just used to paying that. Well, we're not used to that. We're used to paying $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, and so now people are getting their rate increases that are $3,000, $4,000. They're like, "What? This is crazy." Well, insurance companies are just trying to catch up to get to that profitable status. Otherwise, they're not going to want to write more business.
Well, and if you think about it, California has all the crazy things, right? We have earthquakes, we have crazy floods right now. We had a hurricane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Supposedly, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just keep adding on all these things. We have snow in certain parts of California. I mean, the heat, the massive amount of heat. Sometimes we have wind that, gusts through here and messes up something. A tree falls down. Like, we have all the things. So it makes sense if our policies are more expensive. I hate to say it, and nobody wants to pay that, but the reality is, it's where we live.
Well, yeah, California, a lot of things are more expensive than any of the other states, too. So insurance, I think, is just trying to catch up. I wish it wouldn't have gotten to this point, and realistically, I don't see it getting any better till maybe the end of this year. And it is going to take, like, State Farm, for example, to get the rate they want. Farmers, for example, to get the rate they want, for them to open up, what they're willing to write on right now. Because, like, right now, Farmers isn't writing condo insurance. They just stopped writing it completely. I still have my condo insured with Farmers, but they are not writing any more new business right now because they're not getting the rate they want. And my rate just went up too, and it's still not where they want to be. So it's going to take some adjustment on the insurance companies. And I hear all the time from, insureds, like, we can't afford this. I honestly don't know what people are going to do. But like I said, what we do at our agency with my licensed agents is we go over your policies, see where we can minimize, see where we can raise your deductible. Maybe there's another insurance company we have an option right now with, because it's always changing. We don't know until an insurance company leaves writing the state new business until they do.
Right.
So, like, we don't know forecasted March 1st, ABC company is going to leave.
Right.
We don't know until it happens. So, we are very up to date on the webinars with all the insurance companies. I have appointments with a number of insurance companies. It's just, we have to stay on top of it to best, suit our consumers.
And it seems like you're working probably 10 times as hard just to keep up and keep on top of it for your clients.
Yeah, we really are, for less commissions too, because basically these insurance companies, as well as wanting to raise rates, they're cutting staff, they cut commissions, all of that across the board. So while I feel like I'm working harder, I'm still making the same amount of money. I mean, my husband's like, "You're always working." Like, I'll take my laptop home on the weekend and bust out some quotes, return some emails. But yeah, it's exactly that way.
I was going to ask you that. How is your availability?
I'm in and out of the office. So I'm the one that travels, does different meetings. I'm the one who does Medicare. My husband just joined our team as well, too, so he's going to be doing that as well. And a lot of those are older people where I have to go to them to do their policies. But for the most part, I have some webinars and such. You call the office, we can get an appointment that day, next day. It's not like I have all tomorrow open. Like right now, I probably have 3 appointments scheduled for tomorrow, but the rest of the day I'm available. So I am personally very available. My office staff is always there as well, too.
Well, I like to refer to your insurance agent kind of has to be your bestie.
Oh, yeah.
Because you need that. You really do. Should be constantly updating your policies, like you said, just renewing it, figuring out if you need an audit and see if there's things that you can adjust and change as life changes. So, I always refer to insurance agents. They should be your bestie.
Yeah.
Because you should be messaging them that often, like really be in touch with them.
We try to do a review at least every year. Realistically, people come in, or we can even do it over the phone every 3 years or so. We have some insureds that haven't wanted to meet in 10 years. So I'm like, we really should work on this. We could save you some money. No, that's just a hassle, So the clients really need to work with us as well, but we are very on top of making sure people get advised as to what we feel they should do. And then, like I said, at that point, and why, some people don't think of that, like, life insurance per se. Some people don't think of the reasons to get it while you're young so that you're insurable when you're older.
Yeah, I like it.
And one thing you mentioned too, and I know Valerie and I have talked about it, is you need to start early. If you don't wait, don't delay, because it takes some time now.
Definitely, yes. So the California Fair Plan, I was just saying, in January of this year, had 95,000 applications. So they're behind. Year or two ago, you'd put in a quote, next day you get it back. Now it's a week, sometimes 2 weeks. Yeah. In November, it was chaotic because they had company computer issues. They changed their website, that whole thing. But they've kind of gotten that under control. But I would say, legality-wise, insurance companies give you 60 days notice. You should start looking around right away. We usually start quoting about 45 days. And the reason we wait and not do it at the 60 days or 90 days is because insurance quotes are only good for 30. So I don't want to have to do work twice. Like, I don't have time to do it twice. But at least we can give you an idea of what's available today. And then we can kind of go from there. And that way you can kind of, get yourself situated for what are my options type thing. And like you said, too, deductibles are going to be a huge player.
And then the other thing that was a big question that I hear from a lot of people is the liquidity. If something were to happen, a disaster, and you had a good answer for that.
Right. So since the California Fair Plan is an exchange company, my feeling is they're very financially stable because they have the backing of farmers. They have the backing of State Farm still. Even though State Farm's not writing new business, they still have homeowners policies in California. So it would be very unlikely for all these insurance companies to go bankrupt.
So it's not just some third party out there they're backed by. And you were saying, I think, that any insurance company doing business in California had to participate.
Correct. So there might be some smaller insurance companies that only 5%. But, for as the liquidity, I personally, the only problem I have when we're splitting off to the Fair Plan is you're going to end up paying more. I mean, I don't have a problem. We've had a couple claims. We've never had any problems with claims. If there is a claim, it's going to be random as to who the adjuster is going out on. It might be a State Farm adjuster. It might be a farmer's adjuster. So it could be any of those. But I've heard good things about it. But really, realistically, 45 days, that gives us a couple days. Because when you wait till 3 or 4 days before, at our agency, we're always trying to help people. We usually set everything else aside and try to help you. But sometimes there's been, 3-4 days where someone hasn't been insured by the time everything gets lined up, and it's scary. I mean, I go to bed at night like, I hope that quote comes in tomorrow.
I was going to say, I know.
Did we get that quote yet? Like, where are we at?
People don't realize that you do have a really hard job, but it's people like you that do help us complete the transactions that we're trying to do, so we really heavily rely on you. I personally am going to be sending some referrals your way.
Thank you.
Ramona, there's not a better place, a person to use other than your own, right?
Yes.
And so, Jan, I wanted to thank you for introducing us to her. We need a good insurance agent here, and so we're definitely going to start using you. So I'm glad to meet you, and thank you so much for sharing about your business and what it is you do and coming here on our show.
Well, thank you for having me. And like I said, I mean, if anyone has any questions, I'm there to help. I can give them a call, give some advice, as to what to do at this point, because it is challenging.
Your insurance bestie.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you guys for watching Discover Ramona, where we explore the people, places, and businesses that make it one of the best places to live. We'll see you next time.